your breakfast. All misses. Any lube? Hey gentlemen, I know you're Listen gentlemen, I know you're watching this on the toilet, so make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. I know it's YouTube and cheesy, but there is an algorithm god and she is an angry biatch, so I appreciate all the help. Gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, the Talking Arc'teryx Jack. Today we're going over a fun little gun known as the MPX. What if I did that and didn't have any clothes underneath? Alright, where does the MPX come into place in our battle hemisphere? Okay. So today we're going over the MPX, but before we go over the gun, let me put on some sunglasses and we'll go over the gear. Now, I lost my cool Ray-Bans. I have no idea where they went, so I'm down to my Bugman Oakley glasses. Go over the gear real quick. Let me dish this jacket. All right.
Just want to give a quick shout out to Badlands Munitions. They're a local to Arizona ammo company. They do a lot of remanufacturing and stuff like that for getting your ammo surplus for training up to speed. Check them out. There's gonna be a link in the description down below. Let them know that I sent you, actually. I love supporting my Arizona companies, so feels good. Warm fuzzies.
So for the kit we're using is a HSP micro rig. Now this is gonna be in that wolf gray color scheme with a dangler. I think I'm gonna go over a future video where I talk about micro rigs and I kind of think where they're applicable. I know I've fallen that bandwagon of kind of making fun of the micro rig guys where they're like, all I need is a micro rig and 3 mags. And it's like, oh, hey. There is a context for them that I like. There is a use for them that I think is valid. It's just I think that they are often portrayed in the wrong light, in the wrong mission set of what they are typically used for. But we'll probably go over that in a future video because today we're doing a hard and fast video on the MPX like usual. So gear out of the way. Oh, also, for the HSP stuff, there should be a link in the description down below. You can go follow if you want to get any HSP goodness. It helps support the channel if you do. I'm also rocking the HSP sling here, so if you support the companies that support me, that helps out the channel. Anyway, now, how good is 9mm? Well, it depends how good are you. I am biased towards HSP because Travis Haley is my clone father. Biomechanics, okay? Hey, so when you're getting on that firearm, okay? So when you're on that gun, all right, you're breaking it down, working it kinetically, okay? So hey, straight lines are strong, angles are weak, all right? So keep that in mind, okay? All right, so running the did I say MPX or MCX? How many times have I said this wrong? It's a 9mm pistol caliber carbine, and it's actually a really fun gun to shoot. Now, full disclaimer, I'm no expert on the MPX. I'm no authority on the MPX or how to properly utilize it in any way, shape, or form. I am just an enjoyer of all firearms, and it's one of those guns I wouldn't have on the channel because I thought it was freaking cool, so I figured why not have it on. Brief synopsis of what I think, even though my opinion is worth nothing because I'm a dude on the internet who wears a balaclava and talks about firearms. All right, so this is a gun on loan to me. This is not my personal gun. A buddy let me borrow his MPX, but it's got a 4-in-1 suppressor in here, integrally suppressed with the barrel shroud or the handguard up here. And then running a Perst 4 Surefire M300 on a HSP Thorntail mount. EXPS-3 Eotech, and then we're running the Sig minimalist stock on the back. Now, I'm a big fan of sub guns. I think that they are a blast to shoot. Of course, when you're running a submachine gun, or let me take this back. When you're running a sub gun platform, the best form that it is in is when it's fully automatic. Typically, that's kind of like the dogma and the thought process of if you're going to be using a submachine gun, you'd want it to be in the fully automatic configuration. If it's not, then it's kind of like, what's the point? Because if you look at the overall size of this gun, and then you can kind of see and compare where, you know, the AR platform is catching up with the 300 blackout system, and those barrels can be like 9 inches suppressed, and you're getting a 30 cal round out of that. So it's started to make like semi-automatic pistol caliber carbines kind of obsolete for what they do. Like when you start getting into like semi-automatic pistol caliber carbines, this is all opinion based. It's almost like they fall into that weird shotgun for self-defense usage like realm, because it's a 9mm or a 45 ACP. It's not going to be defeating body armor too well, but it can still deliver some damage, and it can be like a force multiplier if you're going against bad guys that say have a handgun, right? But you're going to start to get outclassed if bad guy has a rifle. Now, of course, subguns have a long history being used by high-tier military units. Like, usually with subguns before, I can't remember, like, in World War II, they issued subguns to usually the leaders of the group, of the platoon or something like that, for the NCOs that didn't necessarily need too much range, but were more focused on, you know, seeing to their guys were maneuvering properly in their battle space. Yet again, I'm no expert in World War II tactics, but whatever. So that was usually the thought process for those guys. Now, moving forward into the more modern era, you saw the MP5, and the MP5, of course, was used by a lot of high-tier units. And those ended up, of course, being used, you know, hostage rescue, the Iranian hostage crisis, big famous one. There's a good movie on it, where a dude's literally shredding out some bad guy's face with a full auto MP5, and it's beautiful. A weapon system and mitigate it and operate it within certain climate systems, okay? And of course, everyone loves the you know, MP5 SD. MP5 is a very iconic gun, but then when you fast forward to now where Sig releases an MPX, and this has been out for a long time. It's not like a buy an MPX, it's just like a fun gun to look at kind of thing video. Where this more, it takes the MP5 and makes it more modern, right? More modern controls, and makes it feel more like an AR-15 platform with the controls, the manual of arms, stuff like that. It kind of beats out the MP5 manual of arms, in my opinion, because this, of course, now has ambidextrous controls. There's no paddle down here. You have a bolt release on each side, which is nice, and it feels very much like you're working with an AR platform. And it looks cool, because the most important of owning any gun is how cool can I look for the price point, right? It does a good job of that. The Sig folding stock, of course, is pretty slick. I know some guys like the collapsible stock, some guys like the folding stock, but I'm a folding stock guy, and I like the minimalist stock. I think overall the package looks really good, really crisp. Can't go wrong there. And of course, if you're running a subgun, why not suppress it? And I know legality-wise, you know, if laws weren't an issue, then we could do a lot of fun stuff with guns, but if you have a YouTube channel and you're publicizing all this gun stuff, then hey, you might want to keep things above the belt, which I try and do, which I do to the ATF agent watching this. It's a fly. So like I was saying earlier, the best way, shape, and form for subguns is when they're full auto, because then you're getting a very controllable firearm. That's a big perk about subguns if you don't know this, right? They're very controllable weapons because they're shooting a little 9mm or a 45 ACP round, right? So your follow-up shots can be very accurate, very on point, but of course their downside is ballistic-wise, they aren't a rifle. You know, rifles are great for killing people, pistol rounds are great for going into people, and it's, you know, I'd always take a rifle round over a pistol round for a gunfight, but if I had a fully automatic submachine gun, then what that's good for is, say, you know, a close quarter scenario where you need to put a lot of rounds on target. Typically, though, what you hear is that, you know, a lot of professional teams now, SWAT guys, high-speed military guys, they typically run rifles, and they're typically semi-automatic. Now, is there still a place for fully automatic subguns? Sure. It just depends on your SOPs, what your rules of engagement are. You know, it's, if you're a civilian, you're defending yourself, do you have the right to own a machine gun? Absolutely. It's what our founding fathers intended. Of course, we've been throttled by certain regulatory agencies in our country, which is unfortunate, and I would hope my generation and future generations start to combat that peacefully through legislation. I should be very clear about that. I'm wearing a balaclava. It's been a decent word salad, preferably Caesar word salad so far. Now, of course, I got this set up with a little night vision laser. That's just to show off, you know, make it extra aesthetic for the Instagram, for the camera. But we're not running anything under nods right now because it's morning time. Now, I've actually shot a decent amount of pistol caliber carbines, you know, submachine guns, stuff like that. I would say that this control-wise is probably amongst the best. My personal favorite subgun is gonna be an MP5. You know, MP5 SD or a full auto MP5. It's really hard for me to beat that. It's really hard. And it is cool shooting like these newer subguns though and comparing them, say, to like a Sten. So we've had a Sten on the channel. I've shot full auto Stens before, and that thing is literally like a crude subgun, crude submachine gun. And compared to like where we are now, where it's like this thing makes it look like a Neanderthal. So it's very interesting, like comparing, contrasting firearms throughout the ages. And the downside is that weirdly enough, pistol caliber carbines are kind of expensive to get into over AR-15s. The AR-15 market is so heavily saturated now with so many brands, so many makers, that getting an affordable, decent AR-15 is actually pretty doable. But taking the dive and getting into a subgun platform is a little bit more expensive. I want to say the mags themselves probably cost 50 to 60 bucks, usually for a good subgun, which is kind of crazy when you consider like an ARP mag is like, I don't know, you can find them like anywhere from 10 to 16 bucks, just depending. So that to me is kind of wild, is like you're getting less, and it's a very specific tool, right? It's not like great for reaching out to distance. It's not great for defeating body armor. It's not great for going against, you know, certain threats, right? This is a limited kind of gun. And that's what's kind of cool to me about subguns, is that they are more so, you know, a surgeon's tool, in my opinion, to where you have to be very good with it. Say if you come against a bad guy and he has body armor, it's like you're not defeating his level 4 plates. You're going to have to put your shots literally in his face if you want to stop the bad guy. And say if he has a rifle, or say he's all methed up, security details. Now, say if we came into contact with a larger threat. So if you think of the California bank robbers back in the 90s, those dudes were on muscle relaxers, probably on meth, homemade body armor, AKs, ARs, and the LAPD couldn't stop them. They like could not stop these guys with pistol caliber carbines or with their pistols. They had to get rifles from a local shooting store nearby to put down the threat. And even then, that took a little bit longer. So, highly motivated bad guy, this may not be the weapon of choice unless it's in full auto and they're not having any body armor on, right? If you're getting to jump on someone, this may be a good weapon for that. Yet again, it's one of those things where you have to kind of think about your setting, what kind of threats you have to gather from intelligence that you may have, right? This sounds very high speed of me to say that, but it's just like, okay, hey, am I doing a personal security detail? Am I working at like this weird nuanced stuff, right? Throw my professional guys out there. So yeah, this gun is a very nuanced purpose. If you're buying this, of course, because you think it's cool and you want to have fun with it, that's well within your rights as an American to do so. That's why I love this country, because you can buy something firearms wise because you think it's cool. Is it practical? Does it beat out a 300 blackout? No, I don't think so. I'd rather take a 300 blackout over this, especially if that 300 blackout was maybe, I don't know, full auto, I don't know. Anyway, also, it's kind of nice because I know some guys were getting this. My buddy in particular that owns this, he got it because one of his reasons was he has an MCX and he wanted to use the MPX as a trainer to save money for 5.56 because the mechanics and the feel of the gun are very similar. Ironically though, COVID kicked off and it kind of ruined the whole like save money with ammo thing because 9mm also went through the roof, so pain. That pretty much concludes it. This wasn't like a gun review. I'm not trying to sell you an MPX. I'm not trying to do a review on MPX. Sig doesn't know who I am. This isn't one of those things. Will we have firearms reviews in the future? Sure. For now, we're having a good time. For now, we're having a good time doing big chimp things on the flat range. Gentlemen, hey, if you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you want to support the channel in any way, shape, or form, Patreon is an excellent way to support the channel, as well as merchandise. Merchandise also helps out. As always, gentlemen, stay easy, stay breezy. I will catch you all on the flip. Better turn that camera off. Better turn that camera off.